If I told you that the most common advice you hear about leg circulation might actually be the reason your recovery feels so slow, you would probably think I was mistaken. We hear it all the time. Just walk more. It sounds like the perfect solution. Yet, in my office, I see so many patients who walk every single day, faithfully, but they still come in with cold feet, swollen ankles, and heavy, aching legs. If that sounds like you, I want you to know right now that this is not your fault. You are doing the work, but you might be using a tool that isn't quite right for the job anymore. You see, as we get older, our walking changes. We tend to walk a bit softer and a bit slower to stay safe. That is natural, but the problem is that gentle walking often doesn't squeeze the muscles hard enough to pump blood all the way back up to the heart. It is like trying to pump water with a handle that you are only pushing halfway down. There is a system in your lower legs often called the second heart. It is there to fight gravity and push fluid up, but it needs a very specific kind of movement to turn on. Today, we are going to fix that gap in your routine with simple movements that work with your body, not against it. Before we get into the first movement, I really want to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and tell me your age and where you are watching from. It is incredibly inspiring to see a community of people over 60, 70, and even 80 taking charge of their health from all over the world. Also, if you have ever felt frustrated because your legs still hurt despite all your walking, let me know. We read the comments because we want to help real people, not just talk to a camera. If you are new here, please subscribe so you don't miss these health updates. Now, let's talk about the first step to waking up this system. We need to start right at the bottom, with the feet and ankles. When you sit for a long time, the blood in your legs is like water in a stagnant pond. It just sits there. That is what causes the swelling. To fix this, we don't need a gym. We just need to mimic the motion of a pump. Think of your foot like a gas pedal. We use a movement where you sit comfortably and simply pull your toes up toward your shin, and then press them down and lift your heels up. It looks simple, almost too simple, but inside your leg, something important is happening. You are mechanically squeezing the veins deep inside your calf. Doing this 20 or 30 times a day isn't about building big muscles. It is about keeping the lines open. It signals to your body that it is time to move fluid out of your feet. It is the perfect way to start because you can do it while watching TV or reading, and it prepares your legs for the bigger movements. Once we have the blood moving at the ankles, we need to look at the muscles that do the heavy lifting, your thighs. I often tell my patients that their thighs are the pillars of their independence. If these muscles get weak, everything feels harder. Getting out of a chair becomes a struggle, and climbing stairs feels like a mountain. But more importantly for your circulation, weak thigh muscles mean the blood has a harder time making the long journey up your leg. When you walk with shorter steps because your legs feel weak, you aren't using the full pumping power of your legs. We need to strengthen these pillars safely without hurting your knees. We use a seated movement for this. You sit tall in your chair, back straight, and slowly straighten one leg out in front of you. The key here isn't speed, it's control. When your leg is straight, I want you to hold it there for just a second. That little squeeze you feel in the top of your thigh is vital. It acts like a compressor, pushing blood up towards your heart. By doing this 10 or 15 times on each leg, you are doing two things. You are helping your circulation right now, but you are also building the strength you need to walk with confidence later. When your thighs are strong, you take bigger, surer steps, and that natural walking motion starts to work better again. Once we have re-engaged the thighs, we must integrate strength with balance. This brings us to a functional movement that changes how your body interacts with the ground. In vascular rehabilitation, we often see that patients have lost the ability to push off with their toes during walking. They simply lift and place the foot flat. To correct this, we use a supported calf raise, but with a specific modification for blood flow. Standard walking relies on momentum, but to force fluid out of the lower legs, we need a distinct contraction. We instruct patients to stand holding a support and rise onto the balls of their feet. But the crucial element is the pause at the top. That pause is where the magic happens. By holding the contraction at the peak of the movement, you are squeezing the blood out of the deep veins with maximum pressure, much like wringing out a wet sponge. If you just bounce up and down, you lose this hydraulic effect. Furthermore, this movement retrains the connection between your nerves and your muscles. The ability to control your weight on the balls of your feet is directly correlated with fall prevention. When you stumble, your calves must react instantly to push you back upright. If those muscles are weak or the neural pathway is slow, a stumble becomes a fall. By practicing this slow, controlled heel raise, you are not just pumping blood, you are inoculating yourself against falls. This dual benefit, vascular health and stability, is why we prioritize this movement over simple walking for many patients. However, strength is only half the equation. The other half is the neurological system that keeps you upright, which often degrades silently as we age. We must now address a factor that is statistically one of the strongest predictors of longevity and independence: balance. In the medical community, we sometimes refer to the ability to stand on one leg as a functional vital sign. It sounds incredibly basic, but the inability to hold a single leg stance for 10 seconds is linked to a drastically higher risk of injurious falls and mobility loss. From a circulation standpoint, balance training is unique. When you stand on one leg, your muscles cannot simply fire and relax. They must engage in a sustained, rapid-fire microcontraction to keep you stable. This continuous muscle activity demands oxygen and blood flow, keeping the vascular system in the leg wide open and active. We recommend practicing a single leg balance stance near a sturdy counter. You lift one foot just an inch off the ground and hold. During this time, your brain is working overtime, receiving signals from the pressure sensors in your foot and adjusting your posture millisecond by millisecond. This strengthens proprioception, which is your body's awareness of where it is in space. Many seniors lose this sense, which is why they look down at their feet when they walk. By retraining this system, you allow yourself to look up and walk with confidence. A confident, upright posture opens up the chest and improves overall hemodynamics. It is a profound intervention that takes less than a minute a day, but pays dividends in your ability to navigate the world safely. Finally, we arrive at what is arguably the most powerful tool in our arsenal for combating venous insufficiency directly. While the previous movements address stability and general flow, this final protocol is about maximizing the hydraulic pressure of the calf pump. It is the standing calf pump hold. Unlike the dynamic heel raise we discussed earlier, this focuses intensely on the isometric hold at the very top of the extension. When you rise onto your toes and hold that position for 3 to 5 seconds, you are generating the highest possible pressure within the lower leg compartment. This is essential for overcoming the effects of gravity that have accumulated over decades. For older adults, especially those with venous valves that may not close perfectly, this strong, sustained pressure acts as a bypass, forcing blood up through the system and clearing out the metabolic waste products that cause pain and heaviness. Clinical reviews suggest that consistent performance of this specific hold can significantly reduce ankle swelling and improve walking endurance. It is superior to walking alone because it eliminates the momentum variable. You cannot cheat gravity when you are holding a static position. This movement is safe, it requires no equipment, and it directly targets the pathology of venous stasis. In conclusion, the journey to better circulation and improved mobility after 60 is not about becoming an athlete or pushing your body to exhaustion. It is about understanding the physiology of aging and working intelligently with your biology. The decline we often accept as inevitable is frequently just a symptom of disuse. By implementing these science-backed mechanical activations, pumping the calves, strengthening the thighs, and challenging your balance, You are doing far more than just exercising. You are maintaining the intricate vascular and neurological systems that grant you your independence. Start slowly, be consistent, and listen to your body. Your legs are capable of remarkable recovery when given the right stimulus. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next discussion on senior health.